Emilie, you were there, the vote happening in the room.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that experience.
So this was really the first time on Saturday when the final draft was, the final document was finally distributed, and we had a hard copy on the Saturday morning. And we were able to hear, so it was being read out loud in the Synod Hall, and we were getting simultaneous translation. So it was the first time that we were really getting an impression, a better idea of what was kept in the document. And so there was a lot of anticipation, a little bit of nervousness. It was a long process. It was a long day because you're reading everything out loud. You're listening to translation. It's a lot of information to take in.
Right. So long day. You're probably still processing. What's your initial takeaway for you about the document as a whole?
The initial takeaway.
Yes, initial one.
One day. Okay. I would say that the Pope's homily gives a pretty good key to understanding what the main takeaway is of the document, because he talks about listening, about walking with, and then witnessing. And that came out quite often throughout in the interventions as well in our small groups, that really what it comes down to is there's young people want to be listened to.
Right.
They want to be their voice to have an impact in the church, to be a part of the mission of the church, and so that's what they're asking, and the church, the Synod Fathers were expressing that desire to do that as well, to understand where young people are at, and not just where young people are at in general, or where in a certain part of the world, but the need to listen to each person individually, to understand that person in their concrete reality, before we can speak a word of truth out of love into that person's life. So I would say that's probably the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I know Sebastian's you've been following the whole month. I know you've read the document in Italian. Takeaways for you?
Yeah, a couple of key takeaways, but I think what Emilie said about that little moment that you had at the end of the Synod is very telling, because when you read the document, you see a strong vote of confidence in young people. I wasn't expecting it to be that strong. I mean, there was a dispelling of fear, I think, a shortening of the distance between Synod Fathers and young people because of the presence of the 33, 34 of you who were there. And that relationship that matured over the course of the month, I thought really was expressed in the language that the Synod Fathers used in the document to say, we not only encourage young people to be protagonists in this whole mission that we call the church, but also to trust them and to say, you know things that we don't know, and we're okay with that, and we want to, as much as we want to walk with you, you also hopefully will walk with us. And I think that was a really key thing that came out. And another thing I would just say is a lot of the language was calling for like deeper anthropological, deeper theological, deeper pastoral elaborations. In other words, we don't have all the answers necessarily. I thought that was absolutely key. There was a number of paragraphs where they use that kind of language. And that's a humbling thing. I wrote about this on the blog the last week, that there's a humbling process that occurs. And I think we heard it from Cardinal Tagle in the show last week. Maybe we don't have all the answers when you're faced with the reality that Emilie was talking about. And I thought they did a wonderful job of admitting that, and to say we have to find solutions together, and the way forward is together.